Hi, my name is Taylor Byas, and I am currently a PhD student in poetry, an associate features editor at the Rumpus, and I am going to read some poems for you today. The poems I'm going to read today are from my current work in progress, which are thinking about the male gaze and the construction of womanhood and how to reclaim womanhood after being indoctrinated into an environment that is patriarchal. And fortunately, the new issue of Beloit Poetry Journal just came in today, and I have two really important poems from this project in this issue, so I'm really excited to read them. And so I'll start with the first one, and this is titled Shudder. Nothing stills beneath your gaze unless you are a man with power. My father's looking was the rain of a storm rewinding itself into the clouds, a storm thinking twice of its havoc. My ex-boyfriend's camera, a handheld Medusa, how I hardened beneath it, and how he hardened with pleasure in response to my fear, the both of us shuddering ourselves against the other. All little black girls have been told to change for male company, have been aged with the knowledge of a man's wanting. What is comfort with a man mixed in? What was my body but a clean sheet of paper for others to inscribe their stories? In my own home, I was inappropriate. When my father's friends came over, girl, go put some clothes on. In the command, my father's knowledge that a man will always look. Those old Easters, do you remember? We shined with hair grease. All of the girls primped and pressed, dressed in lacy socks and skirts with crinolines to hold their shape. A smattering of overturned wine flutes in the pews. In church, our cleanliness was always mistaken for goodness. Some currency in how docile we were when touched, pinched, inspected. Even this silence was for the approval of a male god. I've always known that he who holds the camera has the say. The photographer says smile and I obey. The photographer knows magic because he motions how he wants me to shift my body and my body follows. Under the bright studio lights of the photo shoot, I begin to sweat, my body's largest rebellion. My first trip to the museum was really a lesson in etiquette. Do not touch, keep your voice down. My mother took me to admire the art, but the art was too busy watching me. Rooms of pale faces, gold plaques in which I saw my reflection scarred by the names of white men. The women did not smile. I gathered the courage to step up to girl with the pearl earring as close as the black tape would let me. This imaginary woman, stuck glancing over her shoulder, forced to meet every gaze she finds waiting. Once, on a date in the Birmingham Museum of Art, my then boyfriend leaned in to squint at the details of a woman's breast, said loudly, women were built so different back then. A few paintings over, I gazed at a naked man, his flaccid penis on full display. I found no shame in his face and wanted to say so. My boyfriend sidled up next to me. You know, looking at art reminds me that there are two types of people in this world, the watchers and the watched. Between us, his question fell unsaid. Which one are you? When I moved to Cincinnati, I started to watch scary movies alone. It didn't keep me from talking myself through the jump scares or making shudders out of my fingers. In one movie, a woman is cuffed to a bed and another version of herself appears to taunt her. When a dark shadow smokes into the corner of her bedroom at nightfall, I cover my eyes and say aloud, who the hell is that? I am surprised when no one answers. I'm still not used to living alone. Once, at night, I scared myself walking past a television. I didn't think I could cast a shadow with so little light, and yet there I was, a shapeless ghost blacker than the black of the sleeping screen. Shit, it's just me, I said, as if that soothed the fear, as if I could not haunt myself. When I look at myself now, I'm really just squinting to see who I am through glass. I take a selfie, and the girl in the picture is not me. Some days I dance in the mirror and cannot catch her imitations. She's gotten too damn good at copying my moves. Okay, I'm going to read 3 shorter poems, and then I will end with the second poem in the Beloit issue. This is in a picture on my boyfriend's phone. In a picture on my boyfriend's phone, another woman ripples, naked in his eager grasp. In our bed, they dirty the sheets I cleaned. He snaps photos, fills the memory card, shot after shot of a woman who looks like me. I do not know how to leave him. I touch him, I learn to step outside of myself. He makes love to a distant thing and records it. To step outside of myself, I touch him, I learn how to leave him. I do not know of a woman who looks like me. Shot after shot fills the memory card I cleaned. He snaps photos in our bed. They dirty the sheets. Naked, in his eager grasp, another woman ripples. Okay, this next poem was inspired by watching a WandaVision trailer. This is a pantoum, and this is titled The Monster You May Marry. Consider the quotidian horrors. This life, your 80s sitcom with the laugh track. The audience who knows how this ends. Your husband, a pomaded perfection. Before he kisses you goodbye, you say the thing you always say. I'll have dinner when you get back, darling. The twinkle in his eye, a gun's misfiring. You lose your mind a little more every day. Misplace your keys, laughter. Burn the chicken, we know how this ends. Your husband, a pomaded perfection before he kisses you. Goodbye. You say the thing any woman would say, "Oh, darling, don't you love me?" And he says, "Sure I do, honey." Flat. Laughter. You lose your mind a little more. Every day, misplace your keys. Laughter. Burn the chicken. We know your husband is two-timing, two-stepping into a hotel room lit dim enough for imagination, where any woman would say, "Well, darling, don't you love me?" And he says, "Sure I do, honey." Flat laughter, a time stamp we rewind back to catch in his voice. You're putting on lipstick and your husband is two-timing, two-stepping into a hotel room lit dim enough. For imagination, where do you fold your anguish? In the fitted sheets? Laughter. The lacy lingerie still splendid in the drawer. A timestamp we rewind back to catch the catch in his voice. You're putting on lipstick and freckling your neck with perfume. Mussed up hair, a vision of sex when he calls to say, "Don't wait up." Do you fold your anguish in the fitted sheets' laughter? The lacy lingerie still splendid in the drawer mocks you. Laughter. The only thing that will warm you between your thighs. Your husband returns. freckling your neck with perfume. Mussed up hair, a vision of sex. When he calls to say don't wait up, you always say, I'll have dinner when you get back, darling. The twinkle in his eye, a gun's misfiring, mocks you. Laughter, the only thing that will warm you. Between your thighs, your husband returns. Consider the quotidian horrors, this life, your 80s sitcom with a laugh track. The audience, who knows? Okay, and I'm going to close out with the second poem in Beloit, and I was honored that this poem was selected as the winner of the Adrian Rich Poetry Prize by Natasha Trethway, so it feels extra special. And it's sort of a prose palindrome, and this is titled Tell It Like a Movie, Rewind. The camera looks away depending on who's behind it. You know the scene. The woman who has been a woman the whole film, now a girl again in a man's growing shadow. And the director makes him larger than even he could imagine himself, but of course, it's just the low-angle shot. And the heels the woman must gasp out of, still in her work clothes, the pencil skirt with seams that will sigh apart in his hands, the button down, that button the director needs to pop for extra effect, the one that takes 10 cuts to get right. The wall the woman backs into again and again remembers her shape, takes her in its own way, holds the warmth of her backside from every last try, presses like a crotch with demands. But back to the growing shadow, how the woman is a girl again, plucked from the safety of flatness, her body's first curves begging things to tower over her. The camera gets a shot of her first scream over his shoulder as he closes in, high angle to mimic girlhood. The director tells her to put her hands up and out. He's got to have a clean grab of your shirt collar, up and out. Down and in on the first 3 takes, she can't turn off her instincts. When the grab is right, the director says her scream isn't real enough, thinks she must imagine her mother dying to feel grief in this moment. Tells her, holler like you've just walked in on her. Face down, no pulse. 10 more takes and nothing. So everyone takes 5. And while the woman stamps her red pout on the rim of a coffee cup, the director tells the man to improvise the next take. Says, we need surprise on our side. She's got to feel something. And so the director smirks when they return to the set. The woman smoothing her skirt, primping her collar for crushing. The director yells, action. The man goes straight for the skirt. It gives. The woman screams like someone has died, her mother on the bathroom tile, a cold cheek imprinted with small diamonds. And the man keeps pulling until the woman is standing in the middle of the set in her bra and panties, and he reaches for that too. The director yells, cut, and the woman's makeup is ruined. And the director says, that was the emotion we needed. That looked believable. And the man grins, satisfied. And the woman finds the torn skirt and wraps it around herself. And she looks into the camera because that's what she's been taught to do. Smudged mascara, streaked foundation, and all. And the man's belt buckle is undone. And her lips are cracked from the screaming, so she licks them and is met with salt. And you are met with salt, licking your lips that are cracked from the screaming, the unbuckled belt, the man. Streaked foundation, smudged mascara, you look into the camera. Because it's what you've been taught to do, you wrap the torn skirt around yourself. You find the man satisfied, grinning. That looks believable. That is the emotion we needed. The director says your makeup is ruined, yells, "Cut!" And he reaches for you until you stand in the middle of the set in your bra and panties, your cold cheek imprinted with small diamonds like the bathroom tile your mother died on. You scream, and it gives. The skirt. The man thinks, goes straight for the action, crushes everything, your primped collar, your smooth skirt. The set returns. The director smirks, says she's got to feel something. Surprise! The next take, the man improvises. The director pulls from his coffee cup. You stamp and pout, so everyone takes 5. And nothing. 10 more takes. No pulse, like he's just walked in on you face down. You feel grief. Imagine your mother dying. Your scream not real enough in that moment. The grab is right. Turn off your instincts. On the first 3 takes, down and in, up and out, a clean grab of your shirt collar. The director tells you to put your hands up to mimic girlhood. High angle as he closes in, your scream shot over his shoulder. The camera towers over you, begs your body's first curves. Safety flattened, plucked from the girl again, plucked from the woman. The shadow is back, growing demands. A crotch presses, tries every last backside, holds you in it, takes your shape, remembers again and again. You back into a wall to get 10 cuts, 10 takes, the one for extra effect. The button pops. The director kneads the button down in his hands, sighing apart at the seams. The pencil skirt, still work clothes you must gasp out of. And the heels, low, of course, of course. It's just the angle that makes him. The director, large again, a man's growing shadow. The whole film now, the woman who has been a woman, you know the scene. Behind it, the camera depends on who's looking away. Thank you.